And it's hard to tell what is opinions and judgments in the way that people write, especially in things like news media and articles. So with all that in mind, I've broken down a couple of papers, and here's just some quick examples of each of those different kinds of things written specifically on this topic of Somalia and Trump. Okay. So after you've broken down your paper, keep your opinions, keep your declarative statements, keep your statements of fact, keep them in the columns and just put them aside because you're not going to be finished. And you're probably not going to be finished for a while because you take those facts, you go on a fact-finding mission. You find pieces of first-hand data and see how it either adds or detracts from the facts presented by the articles or papers. And after you find data that proves that stuff, then you have to go find the data that disproves that stuff. Find stuff that contradicts what you have formulated opinions around. Find stuff that contradicts the questions that you have formed. And maybe brings doubt into the answers that you found, and then use those questions or gaps or issues to formulate new opinions that kind of build off those last ones. And then once you try to answer all those questions, you kind of got to a stopping point where you haven't gotten any new questions and you have no more old questions. You start to bring back in the opinions and declaratives from the original articles or papers, and you start to compare and contrast across all of them to figure out what information you can take for yourself, what information you can probably leave on the shelf. And now that you've thoroughly stuffed your hair with all of this information, you've done all this research, you've done all this background, you have enough to make your own little dissertation yourself. You can make a decision. Do I have enough information to make my own informed opinion about this thing? And if not, what else do I need to find? What are the missing pieces of information? And is it worth my time to continue trying to pursue information on this? Or maybe I should ask for help on understanding this stuff. And then after you've done all that, take everything you've learned, take all of your questions, take all of your concerns, take your newly formed opinions, take your old opinions, take all the contradictions in between those, take all of that and go talk to somebody who's going to challenge you. Talk to somebody who probably believes differently than you. Talk to someone who may believe the same as you, but probably has a different interpretation of what you've just read. Let them point out flaws in your logic and see what else you can learn and grow from. And if you don't have friends like that, go find new friends, because your ability to learn and grow is built on your ability to challenge your ideas and your understanding. And what it comes down to is that the ability to have knowledge is not a one-off occurrence. You don't just get knowledge in your head and now you're an expert, because even the biggest experts do not trust their own understanding of things. And when they do trust their own understanding, they've moved on to new questions. And there are no absolutes in knowledge, just probabilities and suppositions. You most likely can probably believe this particular thing about something because you have these things backing you up. But you can never truly know for sure, because there's nothing in this world that is that absolute. Nothing. And remember, the real quest for knowledge at the end of the day is the friends you've made along the way.